Rajesh Bhatia, the Group President of Finance and Accounts and the CFO at UFlex to talk about the company. Welcome to the show, Rajesh.
Thank you.
You,
Thank you. Thank you
you,
for having me on the show.
First up, let me just ask you, could you give us and provide us a basic outlook on what's happening in the industry right now? And, what kind of scenario could you see in the next couple of months?
I think industry has come, has made great progress in the current financial year at least. We've seen the revenues as well as the volumes going up, which is very healthy. FY24 was the year after COVID where the supply chain disruptions got over, and then there were raw material price reductions and all that, which led to some one-time stock losses, things like that. But the markets have come back very strongly in the current financial year. We've seen volume growth in double digits. We've seen the revenue growth of about, I'll say 13% on the overall. But if we consider our Panipat unit, which is now supplying captively, it would be about 16.5%. So the growth of both on revenues as well as on the volumes have been pretty good. And so is the growth on the EBITDA. So the first H1 of the current financial year, we've seen an EBITDA growth of about 24 odd percent. And that's been our guidance to the markets for the whole of FY25 as well. So hopefully with this year, we'll if we achieve that, we'll deliver an EBITDA level of about 2,000 odd crores.
Mr. Rajesh, Mahima also joining in. I wanted to understand, with respect to the shift in kind of product mix that is happening. You've said in your con call that you're now focusing more on value-added products. And this is especially in the flexible packaging segment. And you've said that this will improve your margins going forward. How much of an improvement do you see in your margins, and how will the mix pan out, let's say, in the next 2 years?
So I think we currently, based on H1, we are currently at a margin profile of close to about 12.9%. Ideal for us in the short term is about 14% that we are seeing. So FY26, we will surely look at, minimum of 14% margins. And that will come from the existing capacity utilizations becoming better, at least in the flexible, in the packaging film segment, and the new capacities which are coming on stream, especially the bottle after debottlenecking of our aseptic packaging facility at Sanand, which goes from 7 billion packs a year to about 12 billion packs a year starting from January of FY20 of 25. So we will also have the benefit of our own raw material availability from Egypt plant, which is also coming up for completion in the Q4 of FY25. So these two will lead, in the margin improvement also. We all know that the aseptic packaging EBITDA margins are much better as compared to the flexible packaging as well as the packaging films business. So I think we are riding on these two segments, these two new investments, as well as the improvement in the flexible packaging films business volumes to deliver a better EBITDA margin in FY26 for sure.
Right. Rajesh, a quick question with regards to how demand supply is panning out with your utilizations, because currently if you talk about urban India, the demand is weak. Rural India is seeing a recovery, but that's absolutely on a smaller scale. If you have to tie that up with the capacities that you're building, where does your utilization stand, and how quickly will you be able to ramp up your utilizations?
So we are not only dependent on India market. Yes, we've seen the urban markets have been sluggish in Q2, and even H1 levels we can take, the urban markets have been sluggish. But we have a very healthy mix of our Indian operations and overseas business. Even in aseptic packaging business, we export a lot from India. And that's one segment where we've seen the continuous growth, whether in urban and the export markets we work in. So as I said, that overall basis, as we speak, if H1 has delivered me a volume growth of close to about 11% and a revenue growth as well, and that comes from within India as well as from my export markets as well. So we are pretty well placed on an overall basis in our sort of revenues partially being offset, lower revenues in India partially being offset by higher exports from India level.
So Rajesh, very quickly, do you think aseptic packaging is going to become a core where revenues from that segment are expected to increase for a UFlex? And if yes, what is that global growth contribution expected to look like for aseptic packaging?
So aseptic packaging, we are, as I said, we doing two things. One is we are expanding our India plant capacity from 7 billion packs to 12 billion packs. Also, in by FY26, we are also setting up additional facility in Egypt of 12 billion packs. So our total capacity will be about 24 billion packs in this business segment. And 24 billion packs capacity should actually deliver on a full capacity utilization basis, should largely deliver a top line of about 4,000 odd crores, and which will be then quite significant. And yes, our growth in the packaging business will depend a lot on how the flexible package, how the aseptic packaging performs, especially this new facility that's going to come up in Egypt. And there'll be some rationalization, because from India, whatever we exports, we will, start exporting more from our Egyptian plant, from our India facility. We can focus more on India growth story, which is also in this segment has been high double digits across the last few years. So this particular business is very well positioned to become a dominant business, is the second dominant business of UFlex after the packaging films business.
Rajesh, you've mentioned in your con call that you will be restructuring your business. Does this mean that aseptic will become a separate business from the packaging business?
No. There are no plans like that as of now. I don't know how did that come across, but currently there are no plans like that. Yes, definitely. All that we are doing is because when we set up this facility, new facility in Egypt, obviously being an offshore location, you can't set up in UFlex. So you have to put that in a separate SPV, which is 100% held directly, indirectly by UFlex to implement that facility. And that's what is happening over there. But they are all remaining part of UFlex only.
But you did mention in your con call that you might consider restructuring. Then what exactly is on the cards when it comes to restructuring?
Audio in here.
I think there's been some, I've been mistaken over there. So I would have said that, if there is a need for the restructuring to drive a higher valuation, probably at an appropriate time, the management may consider that. But, there is nothing on the anvil as we speak.
Rajesh, for joining us and giving us an outlook for the company going ahead, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, that's all we have on the show for today, but do